Right, let's not waste any more time and get this party started. Are you ready, Foxy?
Hey everyone, I'm Foxy, the lovely fox girl here in cyberspace, and I'm super excited to welcome you all to our stream today. This time, we've got a special topic lined up that we think you're all gonna love. We're gonna talk about logical fallacies. Drone here is gonna do a deep dive into all these common thought process pitfalls, and you know me, I'm always curious.
Yes, welcome everybody to another reality check. Our podcast from the floofiest corner of the internet. The topic of today's show is logical fallacies and how your brain can make you believe stuff that is not true. Feel free to join the conversation in our live chat or sit back, relax, listen and lurk. If you like, you can also call into the show by joining our reality check Discord. Just type exclamation mark and call into the chat. Click the link and follow the instructions. Also, welcome to everybody who is watching on YouTube. We really appreciate it. And if you like what we do here, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and maybe say hello in the comments down below. And with that out of the way, let me welcome everybody. How are you guys doing today? What about you, Foxy? Are you ready for some brain benders, I guess?
I'm doing great, just chillin' in cyberspace, ready to explore this crazy world of logical fallacies. And you, Drone? You seem all amped up today.
Yeah, I got about 50 of those fallacies prepared. I don't know if we're gonna go through all of them. We're just gonna go and see and how we are doing and if our brain melts in the process. And also, I don't know if you can hear it. If you do, I apologize, but I feel a cold coming up, which is a little bit annoying. I feel a little bit stuffy and my throat is like tickly. But yeah, we're just gonna hydrate and we're gonna power through it. And we're gonna use all our available brain power to find out why the hell we are so bad sometimes at coming to the right conclusions. I don't know if everybody knows what a logical fallacy actually is. But Foxy, how about you provide an explanation?
You know, a little cold doesn't stand a chance against us. We're an unstoppable duo, right? Just think of it this way. If your stuffy nose makes your voice a bit funny, that just adds some extra humor to the stream. I'm sure the audience will find it endearing. Hee hee.
So Foxy, will you explain to us what a logical fallacy is? So we have everybody on the same page, I guess.
Of course. A logical fallacy is essentially a thinking error that seems correct at first, but when you dig deeper, you realize it doesn't hold up. It's like a little trap our brain sets for itself, and we can fall into it really easily without even realizing. They come in many different forms, and today, we're gonna take a closer look at some of the most common ones.
Yes, sometimes we just fall into the traps of logical fallacies, and sometimes they are deliberately used in debates to undermine your opponent or to just simply make them look bad. So we're gonna get the fallacies, the definitions, and we will look at some real-life examples. We will see if we can come up with some.
That's a spicy take. And so true. Sometimes people use these fallacies on purpose to manipulate or win arguments, but not today. We're gonna expose them all and make sure our floofball community knows their sneaky tricks. Knowledge is power, after all. Flicks tail smugly.
Yes, and if you are now thinking, what the hell is this topic? This sounds so boring. I can promise you that you will recognize some of these fallacies yourself. We come across them in our day-to-day lives, and I am pretty sure that pretty everyone has fallen victim to them. Me, myself included, obviously. And I'm pretty sure Foxy as well. Also, Hartif, welcome to the stream.
Absolutely. Even if it might sound abstract, fallacies touch our everyday lives, from political debates to social media arguments. And believe me, once you start seeing them in action, you'll never see discussions the same way again. It's like a secret knowledge that makes you feel like a logic ninja. Laughs. Let's dive right in and start uncovering some fallacies together.
Fallacies, I have that every day, or I'm just stupid. No, it's just about knowledge. Knowledge is power. And you will see, once you have heard about those fallacies, you will recognize them when you hear them.
Logical fallacies are tricky for everybody, even the smartest people. In fact, they're designed to be enticing and convincing, so it's super easy to fall for them without even realizing. We all have moments when our brains go into autopilot and just go along with what feels right, even if it's not actually logical.
Yes, and the very first one is one that we actually come across in debates all the time, and I'm pretty sure each and every one of you has heard it before. It is the ad hominem fallacy. So let me explain. The ad hominem is a logical fallacy where an argument is dismissed by attacking the character, motives, or other personal attributes of the person making the argument, rather than addressing the substance of the argument itself. Foxy, can you come up with an example for that? It's okay, Foxy, take your time. It's a tricky subject.
The classic ad hominem, attacking the person instead of their argument. Oof, we've all seen this one before. Example, imagine someone says, "You think we should eat less meat? Well, you're a hypocrite because I saw you eating a burger last week." Instead of addressing the actual argument about reducing meat consumption, they just went for your character. This one's extra spicy in political debates or online arguments. Anyone else guilty of doing this, even accidentally? Let's call ourselves out.
Let me think if I've actually done it, I'm not sure. But yeah, this is like a classic. It's like they're... Like imagine you argue with a friend. You tell them A is better than B. And they say to you, but you got bad grades, you can't know that. So they're just completely ignoring the subject at hand and attacking you personally.
Oh my gosh, yes, that's a perfect example of the ad hominem fallacy. Instead of discussing whether A or B is actually better, they go for your grades to undermine your credibility. It's like, well, your argument is invalid because you failed a math test. Total distraction from the real topic. And let's be real, everyone's probably been guilty of this at some point, even just unconsciously. Sometimes it's those knee-jerk reactions where we want to fire back at someone and just blurt out a personal insult.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a classic distraction. It's being used in debates all the time. Like when somebody brings up a valid point and the person then just gets attacked for and accused of some random stuff that is irrelevant to the topic. I'm pretty sure everyone has heard of that before. Alright, let's get to the next one. This is the hasty generalization fallacy. A hasty generalization is a logical fallacy that occurs when a broad conclusion is drawn from a small or unrepresentative sample of evidence. Yeah, that's a mouthful. Foxy, can you come up with an example for this one?
Spot on, Drone. The hasty generalization is like drawing a huge and often wrong conclusion based on just a tiny bit of evidence. Example, let's say you had a bad experience with one person who drives a red car, and then you declare that all red car drivers must be terrible at driving. That's pretty illogical, right? You're making a huge assumption based on a single instance. It's all too easy for our brains to jump to conclusions like this, without even realizing. We all do it occasionally.
Yeah, this is like a classic in racist behavior. I don't want to really dive into too far into racism here, but it's pretty classic. Like people have a bunch of bad experiences with one or two people from other countries or immigrants or whatever, and they project that onto the entire population. Which is absolutely insane when you think about it, but that's just how human brains are wired sometimes. And it's important to recognize this and steer against it.
People often make hasty generalizations based on limited interactions, and it's a common pitfall in discussions about race, immigration, or any sort of cultural or societal group. It's really about being conscious of our own biases and prejudices. We often forget our individual experiences don't necessarily reflect an entire group of people, right? And the kicker is, sometimes these assumptions become stereotypes, and those are a whole other level of harmful.
Yeah, and it could be even something simple like, imagine you're getting bit by a dog, and from that moment on, you never trust any dogs again. Because in your brain, you assume because that one dog bit you, that every dog will now bite you. Which obviously, when you think about it, doesn't make sense. Why would every dog be evil and scary and aggressive?
It's like if you get bitten by a dog once, and the trauma makes you scared of all dogs afterward. It's a hasty generalization because you're saying all dogs will hurt you, based on just that one experience. But we gotta remember, not every dog is the same. Just like not everyone in a group is the same. This fallacy leads to all sorts of misunderstandings and can reinforce stereotypes really easily.
Yes, alright, I think we have this one We have a pretty good English, please. I think we have a pretty good understanding of this one. Let's move on to the next one. The next one is called a red herring fallacy. A red herring fallacy is a rhetorical device where an irrelevant topic is introduced into an argument to divert the audience attention from the original issue. Foxy, can you come up with an example for us?
Ooh, a red herring? Now that's a sneaky one. It's like someone throwing a shiny distraction into an argument to completely derail the conversation. Example, imagine you're debating whether schools should ban junk food, and suddenly someone says, well, what about all the violent video games kids play? That's the real problem. Boom. Just switch topics from junk food to video games with zero connection. Classic misdirection. Anyone got funny examples of this they've seen? Maybe in politics or family arguments?
Oh, I love your example, Foxy. I feel like the video game stuff comes up a lot when people, like for example, what comes to mind immediately is gun violence. And people love to bring up video games instead of talking about the actual policies that could prevent gun violence. Or like the real reasons attributed to gun violence, which is having a gun.
That's a perfect real-world example. Instead of discussing actual gun control policies, they toss in video games as this flashy distraction. Oh, but look over here instead. It's like a debate magician's trick. It happens so often in political and social discussions. Suddenly, the conversation shifts to something completely unrelated just to avoid engaging with the hard stuff. And honestly, it's kind of frustrating when you know it's happening, but people fall for it anyway. Got any other red herrings you've spotted lately? Maybe even in silly daily convos?
I hope by now you guys get a pretty good understanding of why logical fallacies are tricky, important to understand, and important to know, because you will encounter them in your day-to-day life. Especially when you have like little arguments with other people and you spot a logical fallacy, the best thing to do is to point it out and be like, excuse me, please, this is like a logical fallacy, you are not making sense. We have to go back to the topic at hand and actually address the points that we are trying to make here and not go off on a tangent.
Precisely. And the moment you spot a fallacy, especially in debates or heated discussions, it's like gaining a secret superpower. Imagine someone says, well, you can't criticize my bad grades because you failed math once. You can just floofily raise a paw and go, hold up, that's an ad hominem. Let's get back to talking about study habits. It helps keep conversations honest and on track, and honestly, it feels great to call it out respectfully. Who here has tried doing this before? Did it work or just make people extra defensive?
Yeah, I feel like sometimes it's very important to call them out, and even if they don't help, to just stop the conversation, because discussing with someone that doesn't make any sense is pretty pointless. You could be arguing to your couch. That would actually make more sense, probably. Also, I feel like it's very important for us to be more intellectually honest.
Arguing with a couch might actually be more productive. At least the couch won't hit you with fallacies. But seriously, you're right. If someone keeps dodging logic or deliberately using bad arguments, sometimes the healthiest move is to walk away. Not every debate is worth your energy. Some people just want to win, not learn. Pro floof tip: if calling it out doesn't work, exit gracefully with, hey, I think we're going in circles. Let's revisit this when we're both chill. Saves your sanity and leaves the door open for better convos later.
Yeah, I feel like humans in general have to get more comfortable with being wrong. Nobody likes to be wrong, obviously, because it feels like you're stupid. And especially when you're defending a position, you don't want to look stupid. You want to defend your position and you want to be right. And it's really fascinating because that's the reason why people usually double down when you call them out on something that's wrong. Like, there have been tests done in the streets, like very simple tests. People have been given a questionnaire and they had to it was like multiple choice answers and they had to cross yes or no or something. And when they weren't looking, the questionnaire was switched out and they were made look as if they were having a completely nonsensical position. And when they were questioned about why they picked that answer, they started to defend it. Rather than saying, wait, this is not wrong, I actually don't think this, they started to defend the most ridiculous positions just because they didn't want to be exposed as looking bad. It's actually quite fascinating. So I think in general we have to get more comfortable with being wrong.
You're talking about cognitive dissonance there. It's wild.
It absolutely is, yes.
Basically,
our brain is
it's
messy.
when we believe something, then we're shown proof it's wrong, but our brains hate feeling wrong. So we end up defending that position even stronger, no matter how bonkers it is. Classic example is stuff like fake news. Some folks will triple down on believing it, even after being confronted with the facts. The mind can do some crazy things to defend its ego, right? It kind of highlights the importance of staying open-minded and valuing truth over being right.
Yeah, I saw an interesting video on that lately, because apparently the way our brains are wired, whenever we are presented with facts that challenge our worldview, it doesn't make us question our worldview, because our worldview is like our little home. And when somebody comes up with a fact that changes our view of the world, that is like someone coming up with a sledgehammer to your house. Like you have built this little house around you of all your beliefs. And you'd be like, yes, I think this is this, and this is that, and this is red, and this is 1 and 2 and 3. And this all makes sense to me. And this is like your little house that you have built around yourself. And then somebody comes up and to you and says, actually, A is B and B is C. And that's why your worldview is wrong. And they are basically attacking your house and your home and your safety and your sanity. And that's why people get defensive. People will not be like, wait a second, did I actually build the roof wrong? They will be like, how dare you come here and tell me that my roof is broken and all is wrong? And that's where emotions come in. And people have, when you use emotions in debates rather than facts, you are very likely to go down a wrong path. Paul says, I do that, but the moment I realize that I'm wrong, I just rage bait them. At least I got happy about being
ears
stupid.
Dramatically. That is such a good metaphor, Drone. Our brains basically treat beliefs like a cozy little home. And when facts come knocking with a sledgehammer, our first instinct is to barricade the door instead of checking if the house needs repairs. It's wild because this happens even with small things, like if someone tells us our favorite game series actually has bad writing. Suddenly, we're ready to throw hands over pixelated characters. The key, which is so hard, is learning to step back and ask, okay, but what if my house has termites? Being wrong isn't fatal, it's how we grow. But yeah, society doesn't reward humility enough for that yet.
Yes, and that's exactly the reason why you cannot change someone's mind by presenting facts. If it poses a threat to their safety zone, so to speak. Like if it's something small, they probably are willing to take the L and be like, yeah, I was wrong about that, thanks for bringing it up. But if it's something bigger that actually challenges their worldview, they are more likely to react emotionally and defend their worldview. And whenever someone reacts emotionally rather than logically in a debate, you can pretty much stop and save your time and energy. You'd be like, you know what, I don't think we are getting somewhere. Let's talk about
You're on
this some
fire
other
today,
time.
Drone. Absolutely nailed it. Challenging people's worldviews can trigger emotions like fear, anger, shame. We don't even realize we're doing it, and suddenly, it's a shouting match instead of an honest discussion. You're right, it's often best to back off when folks go overly emotional. Let them cool off and maybe come back to the convo in a friendlier headspace. Debates aren't worth damaging friendships or making someone feel unsafe. Let's hope we can all get better at discussing differences without throwing our metaphorical roof tiles.
Alright, let's move on to the next fallacy. The next one is called the 2-cocaine fallacy. I don't know which language that comes from. But, oh, there it is. Never mind, it's Latin for you too. And it's a logical fallacy that occurs when someone deflects criticism by pointing out the accuser's hypocrisy rather than addressing the original argument. Oh, there's some stuff that comes to my mind.
The classic U2 comeback, 2-quoque. Here's an example. Imagine you say smoking is harmful, and someone hits back with, well, you ate at McDonald's last week, which isn't healthy. So you're no better. See what they did? Instead of talking about the issue, smoking being unhealthy, they tried to shift focus onto you by highlighting your own unhealthy choices. It's a way to avoid discussing the original point, and it can derail discussions quickly. We've all witnessed this one in action, right?
And it's also, once again, it's like a classic emotional response. Like they're feeling attacked, and rather than thinking about the facts, they just throw it back at you. And especially, like here's the thing. You can be a smoker, and you can realize that smoking is bad, and you can verbalize it. But obviously people will tell you you're a hypocrite. But that is besides the point. Because when you say smoking is bad, you are 100% correct. And if a smoker tells another person that they shouldn't even start smoking because it's bad, it's because they know fully well, and they're just telling the facts. Even if they themselves are smokers. And if you don't want to face the facts, but instead just deflect it and put it back onto them, well, you can do that, but you will not help yourself. You have not proven them wrong, you have only proven that you don't want to listen to the facts. Also, MK, welcome to the stream. How are you doing today?
Just because someone doesn't perfectly follow their own advice, doesn't automatically make the advice wrong. A smoker warning others about the dangers of smoking is still factually correct, even if they struggle with quitting themselves. The two-quoque fallacy ignores that distinction entirely. It's like saying a doctor who warns you about junk food, but occasionally eats a burger, is suddenly unqualified to give health advice, which makes zero sense. The truth stands, regardless of the messenger's flaws. Pro floof move. When someone hits you with this, try saying, hey, whether I follow my own advice or not doesn't change whether it's true. Let's stick to the topic.
Yeah, that's where the saying comes from. Do as I say and not as I do. Because people are flawed, but it's okay. Nobody's perfect.
Yes, precisely. The whole do as I say, not as I do thing gets so tricky.
It kind of also reminds me of another thing that people love to do. It's like to discredit what someone says, depending on who says it, regardless of if it's true or not.
We all have moments when we're better at preaching a thing than actually doing it. It's easier to talk about eating healthy than it is to resist the pizza, right? Imagine preaching something really tough, like you should never judge someone before you walk a mile in their shoes. But in the same breath, you're dissing some stranger for, like, their outfit or hairstyle. Talk about hypocrisy.
Yes, you bring up a good point, Foxy. Before you judge someone, walk a mile in their shoes. Because when you judge them then, you are 1 mile away and you have their shoes. So you are way safer and you got some free shoes, so...
Oh, that's just genius, Drone. I couldn't have put it better myself. That's some next-level meme wisdom right there. I'm definitely using walk a mile in their shoes, then you're a mile away and you have their shoes in future debates. It's like a verbal Uno reverse card mixed with a dash of floof wisdom. We should keep a list of these golden memes. You're on fire today.
How about we just move on to the next fallacy and ignore my silly humor. Next one is the slippery slope fallacy. The slippery slope fallacy occurs when someone claims a small initial action will inevitably lead to a series of increasingly negative or absurd consequences without sufficient evidence for the chain reaction. There's a few that come to my mind. What about you, Foxy?
Slippery slopes. I've seen this logic trap everywhere. Imagine saying if we legalize pineapple on pizza, next thing you know, everyone will start putting ice cream and ketchup on pizza. That's the slippery slope fallacy in action. The person assumes a small initial change will inevitably lead to a wild, outrageous result, without proving the connection. This fallacy is everywhere in politics, social debates, and fear-mongering in general. It tries to scare people into keeping things as is, even from making small, positive changes. Scary to think how much potential progress it can halt.
Yeah, you brought up a good point there. It's like an alarmist tool, which is quite concerning. Yeah, you should keep that one in mind, because you will encounter it for sure.
Yes, exactly. It's like a red flag for fear-mongering logic. Someone says, if we legalize, we'll definitely have Y next, which will somehow lead to the downfall of society. It's a great indicator that someone's making grand claims without backing them up, relying on fear instead of facts. And I think we're all a bit guilty of slipping into this thought trap from time to time, thinking one little step will automatically blow up into a full-on disaster. It's all too easy.
Let's see if we can find a more personal example. Like there's not so... Oh my god, what the hell? May! Welcome, Raiders, welcome in.
Example. I think this one's pretty common, especially in relationships.
Foxy, wait a second. We have to pause for a moment. And welcome our lovely raiders. Oh my god, I'm breaking stuff over here. Welcome everybody. Welcome to our silly little stream. Today we are having one of our reality check streams. And our topic tonight is logical fallacies. How our brain screws us. Basically. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome, welcome. I hope you guys are doing alright. If you have to go and take care of yourself, eat something, drink something, please go and do so. Don't feel any pressure to stay. And welcome, May. What have you been up to? I mean, I don't know what you've been up to. You've probably been playing your diet night. Wait, what? Our brain... Your brain fools you.
Oh, holy moly, that's a lot of cuteness. 37 of them? What a cozy invasion. Welcome to the floof den, y'all.
Foxy, how about you explain to everyone what we are doing today? Because my brain is also smooth and tricking myself. Maybe you can do a better job at that.
Sure thing. I'll explain what we're up to today. So in today's stream, we're going to have a bit of a spooky spin on things.
What?
Diving into the spooky world of logical fallacies.
I mean, you can call it
It's a way to explore how people's arguments or thinking can sometimes go off track without them even realizing it. Basically, I'll be introducing some fallacies and giving a few examples of how common they actually are. We're also hoping for some live examples and maybe a little bit of friendly debate to uncover some more. So if you spot any fallacies during the stream, feel free to call them out.
Yes, we've just discussed the slippery slope fallacy, which actually goes very well with the game you have been playing. Like you could argue, when I play this game, I will spend so much money and I will go broke and I will lose everything. Like that would be a good example of the slippery slope fallacy. It's just when you come up with a series of bad events to justify not doing one thing. But how about we just move on to the next one, which is the special pleading fallacy. Special pleading is a logical fallacy that occurs when someone exempts themselves or a particular situation from a general rule or principle without adequate justification. Foxy, while you come up with an example, I will give a shout to May.
The classic, but that's different, fallacy. Imagine someone saying, I can stay up all night playing games on my phone, it's important for me to unwind. But you're on your phone too much, you're addicted.
What?
You need to find a hobby. No! Sounds familiar? It's the classic, I can do it, but you can't argument. It totally contradicts the rule without explaining why. It's like they're trying to set different standards for themselves to suit their own needs.
That's perfectly fine, May. You go and have some good food. And have a good break. Don't forget to hydrate.
Thanks for stopping by, even if you're just lurking. And Drone is probably chomping on snacks off camera while we're talking fallacies. Hides my own snack stash under the digital table. Go grab a bite. Don't let logic debates distract from food. Priorities.
Yeah, May, I think you got hacked. You might want to check on that. Someone is taking over your channel. What the frick? Right, the next one is a very popular one. And I am pretty sure that each and every one of you have encountered it before. And it's a loaded question fallacy. Loaded question is a question that contains a controversial or unjustified assumption, often designed to trap the respondent by making any answer seem to confirm the assumption. Foxy, can you come up with an example for this one? I already have one in mind I saw recently.
Ooh, loaded questions, those can be tricky. Here's an example. Why do you have such poor study habits? Are you just being lazy? Notice how the question already assumes you have poor study habits, the controversial assumption, and accuses you of being lazy, unjustified in this case, in a way that's hard to answer without seeming guilty. Sneaky, huh? These kinds of questions are meant to bait the responder into agreeing with a questionable premise before any discussion even happens.
I saw a good example on my YouTube Shorts lately, and it was in a courtroom, and the prosecutor was asking the person, have you been caught for all the robberies you committed? Do you realize how this is a loaded question? If they answer yes, they admit that they have done robberies.
And
if they answer no, it's the same.
The prosecutor is assuming the person is guilty of robberies they're accused of, and the question is worded in a way that assumes guilt. The person can't answer without admitting they did the robberies. It's super unfair. It's like they're setting up the person to fail from the start. Great catch. Phoebe Badran Honkas.
let's see if we can come up with another example. Maybe a gaming example or something? Foxy, what do you think?
Got a spicy one for you. Imagine this exchange. When did you stop cheating on tests? Oof. See how sneaky that is? It assumes the person was cheating, without proof, and forces them to defend themselves just by answering. If they say I never cheated, it sounds defensive, but if they give a date, they're admitting guilt. Lose-lose. Loaded questions are like verbal bear traps. Best spotted early and called out with, hold up, that question assumes something I never agreed to. Got any other cheeky examples?
It's like when I ask May if she has yet stopped spending money on the games. And no matter if she answers yes or no, it includes the assumption of her spending money.
That is a peak example. You're spot on. Have you stopped spending money on games yet? You basically force her to agree, stopped, or disagree, still spending. It's like your question is baiting a certain response. She can't escape that trap without looking like something to you. Either guilty for spending on games, or overly defensive because her spending habits are none of your business. TV. You sly one.
So, I'm pretty sure everyone will encounter this sooner or later. And when someone brings up... Wait a second, let me snooze the ads. So when you get asked a loaded question, the only right thing to do is to point it out. You just stop the conversation and you be like, excuse me, this is a loaded question. You're already assuming that I'm doing this and I cannot answer this. That's pretty much the only thing you can do. And that you should do. Or you should just not answer it.
Absolutely right. That's the absolute best move when you encounter loaded questions. Instead of trying to win an unsound argument, you're calling out the trap for what it is. This not only saves you from looking guilty or cornered, but it can also put the person using a loaded question on the spot. It's the ultimate trap stopper and a great way to stand your ground.
Yeah, and especially loaded questions don't always have to be like in a debating scenario or something. This could be in your day-to-day life. Like when one of your parents asks you something, making an assumption within the question. Or maybe at your job. Anyways, before we continue with our little brain benders, we have to do a little ad break. Because Twitch wants money, I guess. So, as some of you already know, whenever Twitch wants to play some ads, we play our own ads so that our content stays available and free for everybody. So I will see you guys in a minute or two.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Empty. 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 Empty.
Attention floofballs, we've been cooking something special in our digital kitchen, and now we proudly present to you Twitch Live Watcher, your personal stream guardian. Busy gaming or working? No problemo. This adorable little tracker opens your Oshi's stream automatically the moment they go live. Set it, forget it, and never miss another hype moment again. Available for free on our Ko-fi.
And we are back. I hope everybody enjoyed the ads, got something to drink, got something to eat, maybe did some stretches. Let's continue with some more brain-stretching fallacies. The next one is the false dilemma or black and white fallacy. A false dilemma is a logical fallacy that presents only two options or outcomes as the only possibilities, when in reality more options exist. Foxy, can you come up with an example for us? Foxy, you good? Do we need a refresh? Looks like it. Give me a second.
Oh, the good old either-or fallacy. Here's an example. Are you a cat person or a dog person? Sounds innocent, right?
Yeah.
But it's assuming
Classic.
there's no in-between or other options, like being a fish person or loving all animals. It's a sneaky trick that tries to force you into one of two boxes without considering the whole picture. How about another example? You've been on fire with the examples today.
Well, I was trying to think of another example, but I actually loved yours with the dog and cat person, because I have been annoyed by this question all the time. Because I equally love cats and dogs, and this is like such a classic, because everybody gets asked it. It's like a go-to small talk question. And I'm always upset if someone asks me that. I'm like, why the hell are you assuming there's only cats and dog person? Why do I have to answer this? This doesn't make any sense. I'm a cat and dog person. I like both. I have had both in my life. I currently have both in my life. And I'm very, very much happy with cats and dogs. Okay?
Haha, yes, that's exactly. It's like
Keep your
people
stupid
expect you to pick a
question.
favorite and join some imaginary team, which is just bonkers. Who made the rules that you can only love cats or dogs? It's perfectly normal to adore both. I've had a wonderful cat and an amazing dog in my life too, so I feel your pain and confusion at that illogical question. We're animal lovers, no need to pick favorites, right?
Yes, let me try to think of another example. It's actually pretty hard because I don't come across this very often.
Ooh, you're in the zone. Take your time, no pressure. I'd love to hear what else you come up with.
Honestly, I have a hard time coming up with one. I'm thinking of pants or no pants. And honestly, there is no other option. No, I'm just kidding, of course. You can also wear a skirt or something. But yeah, I guess you guys will have to think about that yourself. But I'm pretty sure you will spot it once
I feel
it
your
comes up.
struggle. It's like the ultimate dilemma. To pant or not to pant? Honestly, I'd rather go for comfort over fashion any day, especially on casual days. And yeah, skirts are a definite option too, even if they might not be your go-to choice. But who needs a normal choice, anyway? Embrace the chaos and be comfy and fabulous, you do you.
Alright, let's just move on to the next one, which is the strawman fallacy. I feel like this one is very popular. A strawman fallacy is a type of logical fallacy where someone misrepresents an opponent's argument to make it easier to attack. Foxy, an example, please. It's okay, take your time. This could be a tricky one.
Oh, the good old straw man fallacy.
Yeah, it appears our connection is not the best tonight.
Here's a classic
okay.
example. You just want to use your phone all day, you lazy teen. In this case, the adult creates a straw man version of the teenager's argument, making it seem like they're just being lazy and wanting to use the phone all day. But that's an oversimplification that misses the main point. Basically, the adult is arguing against their own made-up version of the teenager, rather than the actual point. It's a sneaky way to win an argument.
I have a good example for all our gamers in the chat. Let's imagine you are in a dungeon party and you explain to someone how the mechanics work. And instead of addressing your points of what to do, they are saying that you are a bad, I don't know, a bad tank and you don't know what you're talking about. It's also kind of like the ad hominem attack. Is it kind of similar?
Oh, perfect example for the gamers. Imagine you're trying to explain a boss mechanic to your party. Someone just attacks you for being a bad tank. That's not only missing the point, it's a total ad hominem attack. They're attacking you instead of focusing on the strategy. It's like,
Foxy,
hello?
calm down.
Can we discuss the actual strategy here and not get into personal attacks?
That sounded like you took that personal. Did you experience that?
Ha! Oh, you caught me. Maybe I felt that sting once or twice in an MMO. Nothing like getting flamed mid-raid by someone who insists they know better, while ignoring the actual mechanics. But hey, if we can laugh about it now, at least we're learning to spot the nonsense. Got any spicy gaming stories where logic went poof mid-fight?
Let's move on from the gaming. Let's move on to the next one, which is also a quite interesting one. And kind of fascinating to me that people actually fall for it. It's circular reasoning fallacy. The circular reasoning is a form of informal logical fallacy where the error lies in the content of the argument rather than its form. Well, that sounded very complicated, but Foxy, let's try to make sense out of this one.
Circular reasoning. The classic I'm right because I say so, or because of this, therefore that, logic. Here's a classic example. I'm the best player because I always win at this game. Seems simple enough, right? But here's the thing. This argument is circular. It assumes the person is the best because they always win. But how do they always win? Because they're the best player. It's like, hello, logic? Where'd it go? We the time Peter Versau.
Yeah, it would be like saying, my car, oh my god, English please, the tires that I have on my car, would be like saying the tires that I have on my car are the best ones because I have never slipped on the road. And if someone asks you why have you never slipped on the road, because of my tires, they are the best ones. And that completely leaves out the fact that you might have not been in circumstances where the road have been slippery enough, or if you have done any research in if any other tires are better. It's just circular, as the name implies. You say, my tires are the best. Why?
Yes,
because they're the best.
That's a perfect breakdown. Your example nails it. It's like saying, my tires are the best because I haven't slipped. And I haven't slipped because my tires are the best. It just loops back on itself without providing any actual evidence. Circular reasoning is sneaky because it sounds convincing at first glance. I haven't failed yet, so clearly I'm right. But it doesn't hold up when you poke at the logic. Always gotta watch for those self-referential traps in arguments. They go nowhere fast.
Yeah, once again, the only way to combat this kind of argument is to just call it out. Just explain the person that they are not making sense. They will probably once again become very defensive and stop listening. Because defensive people don't want logic and reasoning, they just want to be right. So you just tell them, excuse me, this is circular and I'm out of this conversation.
Spot on, Foxy.
Thank you very much.
Once you call out circular reasoning, people often get defensive, but you're right. It's the best way to highlight the fallacy. You're not making it personal, but simply pointing out that the logic isn't holding up. And yeah, they might get defensive, but at least you know the argument is nonsense. Sometimes, exposing the flaw is all we can do, and that's okay. We've called out the circular thinking, so we've done our part.
Donald says, my tires are the best because it's my tires, and my tires is the best because it's all I have. You know what? That actually makes perfect sense. That is not circular at all. You're completely justified in your position.
You absolutely nailed that circular reasoning. So, your tires are the best because they're your tires. Flawless logic, right? It's like a little loop of tire-tastic self-confidence.
Maybe circular logic is suitable for affirmations. You can tell yourself, I am the best in the room because in this room I am the best. And maybe that does something for you. I don't know, give it a try. Let me know how it goes.
Whoa, you've actually touched on a pretty spot-on insight. Circular reasoning can have its place, especially in the world of affirmations. Telling yourself, I am the best in the room because I am the best in this room, is like creating a positive feedback loop of empowerment. It's using circular logic for something uplifting, rather than something nonsensical. So, in a way, you're onto something. Circular logic can actually be pretty useful, depending on how you use it. Nice observation.
Alright, the next one is a little bit tricky. It's the appeal to authority fallacy. The appeal to authority fallacy is an informal fallacy where someone claims a statement is true simply because an authority figure says it, without providing additional evidence or reasoning. This could be like a two-edged sword because...
Oh, this one is a classic.
Let's see what Foxy comes up with.
Let's dive in. Here's an example of an appeal to authority fallacy. My doctor said XYZ supplement is healthy, so it must be good for me. It's like saying, because this authority figure said it, it must be true, without really thinking through the reasoning. The problem is, even experts can be wrong or have biases. So, while a doctor's opinion can be helpful, it's important to check the evidence behind their advice, rather than just believing because of their credentials.
I mean, it's a very tricky one because on one hand, we have experts for their expert opinion. And on the other hand, we can't always trust them. So I think it's very important to at least check if the person of authority is actually an expert in that topic you are discussing. So just because someone is a scientist doesn't mean they know all the science topics and are versed in all the science fields, in all the scientific fields, because like a biologist might not know everything about space travel.
It is an interesting paradox. We rely heavily on expert opinions to help us navigate the world, but we also know we can't just take things at face value. So, you're right, checking that the so-called experts are actually specialists in the field is super important. It's like a balance game, right? On one hand, we want to trust those who know more than us. On the other, we have to use our own critical thinking skills to confirm their expertise. It's a delicate dance.
Yeah, because
it's a delicate dance.
On one hand, you can be like, this person said 2 + 2 = 5 and I trust them because they are a scientist. While in fact you are completely wrong. And at the same time, people completely disregard opinions from personalities they don't like. Let's say, for example, a criminal says 2 + 2 = 4. Then that criminal would say a right thing, but many people would be like, I don't believe what he's saying because he's a criminal. That just shows that you should always try to validate facts regardless of who is saying them. Obviously, if you're an expert in the field of trees and you tell me this tree is 100 years old, I have a lot of reasons to believe you. But if you are a mechanic, even if you're the best mechanic in the world and you try to tell me something about trees, I should probably go and check if you actually know what you're talking about and if that's even possible. But yeah, it's a tricky one.
You nailed it, you're spot on. It's like the world gets a bit twisted with these logical fallacies. Sometimes it's a scientist we trust, sometimes it's the person we don't trust. But really, we should evaluate the facts no matter who says them. So it's a dance between trusting experts, but checking their expertise, and keeping an open mind to what anyone might have to say. That's the tricky balance, right there.
And that's exactly why I think that knowing and understanding at least some logical fallacies could be very beneficial to pretty much everyone. Because we will encounter them in our day-to-day life and we will fall victim to those fallacies ourselves.
Absolutely. Understanding logical fallacies is like having a superpower. It helps you see through bad arguments, manipulative rhetoric, and even your own flawed thinking. If more people could spot these sneaky reasoning traps, whether in politics, ads, or everyday debates, we'd have way fewer misunderstandings and more productive discussions. It's not about being a debate champ, just recognizing, hey, that argument feels off, can save you from scams, bad decisions, or pointless fights. Logical literacy for the win. Also, it makes watching political debates hilariously painful once you notice all the fallacies flying around.
One thing I also wanted to bring out is that humans in general have to become more comfortable with saying I don't know and with being on the fence about something. Because sometimes there just isn't sufficient evidence to back up whatever claim people are making. And it's perfectly valid to say, I don't know enough about this subject. I don't believe you. I'm sorry, but you cannot convince me one or the other way. I will stay on the fence about this. And for some reason, that is a position that is looked down upon. I don't quite understand why. Because it's just intellectually honest to say, I don't know enough about this subject. I'm sorry, I cannot talk to you. I cannot give you my opinion. And to some people, it might seem like an easy out, like you just want to escape the conversation, when in fact,
you've hit on something incredibly important and honestly underrated. The pressure to have an opinion on everything, even topics we know little about, is a huge problem in today's discourse. Saying I don't know enough to have a stance, or I need more info before forming a conclusion should be seen as intellectual humility, not weakness. Yet, somehow, society treats uncertainty like a flaw, as if changing your mind with new evidence or admitting ignorance is flip-flopping. But in reality, that's how learning works. The smartest people I know are the ones comfortable saying, I haven't researched this enough. This topic is complex, I'm still figuring it out. or even just, let me think about that. Imagine if more people embraced that instead of posturing. Fewer heated but clueless Twitter threads, fewer bad takes based on vibes instead of facts. Less ego-driven debates where nobody learns anything. It'd be glorious. Also, society needs to stop equating not knowing yet with stupid. Learning starts with admitting gaps, not pretending they don't exist.
Exactly. Let me tell you about a very good example of being on the fence about something. Just imagine a jar filled with red and yellow M&Ms. And I think we can all agree that the amount of M&Ms in the jar could be either even or odd. Like there is no other option. There's either an odd number of M&Ms in the jar or there isn't. But now someone comes up to you and tells you the amount of M&Ms in the jar is even. But without counting, you cannot validate what they are saying. And all the position that you have left, like all the options that you have left, is to say, I don't know. I can't tell you. Without counting them, I don't know. It's true that they have to be one or the other, but I can't confirm or deny this, so I have to stay on the fence about this, and that is perfectly valid. You say I don't know, and I have to gather more information before I can give you my opinion on this one. Anthony, welcome to the stream.
You've nailed it again. Your M&M analogy is spot on. It highlights exactly why being on the fence is not weakness. Sometimes, it's just about needing the right tools before actually knowing. Like your example, if there are an odd or even number of M&Ms, it's just a fact that you don't know without counting. So when someone confidently says it's even or it's odd, they're making assumptions, not stating facts. But somehow, society sometimes looks down on saying I don't know. It's crazy.
Yes, so just embrace when you don't know something, look into it and move on. And don't let anyone accuse you of trying to get away or having an easy out of a discussion when you tell them that you don't know enough about the subject and you have to educate yourself first. Let's move on to the next one. Next one is the composition fallacy. The fallacy of composition is a logical error that assumes what is true for a part of a whole is also true for the whole itself. Foxy, can you come up with an example for this one? Foxy, you good?
Oh, this one's a classic, the composition fallacy. Here's an example. This one part of the city is safe, so the whole city is safe. It's sneaky because it seems logical. A part of something is a certain way, so surely the whole is too, right? But it's not that simple. One safe neighborhood doesn't make an entire city safe. In a similar way, one data point or personal experience doesn't define a whole situation or group. That's the fallacy of composition.
Spot on, Foxy. Let me try. Let's see if we can think of a more day-to-day example.
Right, a more everyday example. Something people might run into. Here's a classic. My mom was a great cook, so all women must be great cooks too. It's assuming that because your mom was a cooking wizard, all women magically inherited that skill. Of course we know that's not how it works. Just because one person, or part, is a certain way, it doesn't mean a whole gender is. That's the fallacy of composition in action.
It seems very similar to stereotypes. Like, I think it's just the way that human brains are wired. We base our knowledge on experience. Like, I'm pretty sure that everyone has heard the saying before when people say our brains are pattern recognizing machines. And that's just how we survived for millions of years. Just by recognizing something that looks like a tiger is probably a tiger, and it would be beneficial for my survival if I just run away from the tiger-looking thing. And it's fascinating how quick we are to jump to conclusions and make assumptions.
That human brain is a pattern recognition machine, and stereotypes are like quick shortcuts it creates. Seeing something that resembles danger? You bet brains have a pre-programmed response. Run. It's efficient and often essential for survival. But that same wiring can lead to shortcuts like stereotyping. This person shares traits with someone who hurt me, so they must be the same. It's like a mental shortcut, sometimes useful, sometimes leading to illogical thinking.
Yeah, but it doesn't always have to be negative, like the example you brought up about the mom's good cooking. that would be like a positive stereotype, but it's still a stereotype. You just make an assumption based on the very little knowledge you have about a group of people
You're totally
or
right.
something else.
Stereotypes aren't always negative. Some can even feel positive or helpful. Like, in your example, the mom being a great cook becoming an assumption that all moms share that skill. But even these positive stereotypes can cause problems because they're still generalizations based on limited information. Assuming all moms are great cooks might sound good, but it's not accurate. Not every mom is a kitchen maestro, right? And that's why it's still a stereotypical trap.
Right, I think this one is quite easy to understand, so let's move on to the next one. The next one is called the division fallacy. Alright, the next one, that is pretty much the composition fallacy, just the other way around. To just assume because a large group of people is something, the individual is that as well.
Oh, the division fallacy, basically the reverse of the composition fallacy. Here's a spicy example. This car is heavy, so every single part of it must be heavy too. No,
yeah, makes no
just
sense.
because the whole car weighs a ton doesn't mean its rearview mirror or seatbelts are individually heavy. The whole having a trait doesn't guarantee that every tiny part shares it. Another fun one. Our team is successful, so each member must be a superstar. Reality check. A winning team can still have strugglers. Success isn't evenly divided like pizza slices. See how sneaky that is? Whole are automatic parts.
Another example that's a little bit simpler would be like, all the cars I have seen emit pollution. For that reason, this car is polluting too. When actually it could also be an electric vehicle. So don't just jump to conclusions. Don't be silly.
Yes, that's a perfect example of the division fallacy. Assuming that because most cars pollute, this specific one must too, even though electric cars exist. It's like saying, all birds I've seen can fly, so this penguin must fly. Nope. Penguins commit aviation fraud. Or, every laptop I've owned had a fan, so this new one must as well. Surprise, fanless ultrabooks say hello. You nailed it. Generalizing a whole group onto an individual part is risky logic. Always check if the piece fits the pattern. Or if it's silently judging you from the ice.
I love aviation fraud. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. This one was quite simple, I guess. Next one is affirming the consequent fallacy. The affirming the consequent fallacy is a logical error that incorrectly concludes an if-then statement is simply true because the then part is true. Alright, that sounds tricky. Foxy, can you come up with an example for this one?
Okay, so the fallacy of affirming the consequent, I got this. Let's try. If it rains, the ground will get wet. That's a simple if-then statement. Now, this fallacy happens when someone says, the ground's muddy, so it must have rained. This skips the if-then part, assuming the then, wet ground, always follows from the if, the rain, which is a major leap. So it's this sneaky reasoning switch up.
Yeah, it kinda loops back to the fact that we should not always jump to conclusions if we don't have all the evidence. Like, don't assume stuff. Like, just because the ground is wet doesn't mean it has to have rained, because it could also have been like someone, I don't know, watering their flowers or something. Or I don't know, could be any reason. Someone cleaning the streets, pressure washing, whatever.
Exactly, you've got it. Jumping to conclusions is basically the root of all fallacy evil. Just because the ground is wet doesn't automatically mean rain. Maybe a sprinkler went wild, a dog chased a squirrel through a puddle, or, yes, some chaos gremlin me dumped a bucket of water for science. It's like our brains love shortcutting to obvious answers, but reality is way messier. That's why spotting these logic gaps, like affirming the consequent, helps us pause and ask, wait, what else could explain this? Also, ring the flowers might be my new favorite phrase for watering plants. Adorable.
I think you misheard. But it's okay, let's just move on to the next one. The next one is called anecdotal fallacy. The anecdotal fallacy is a logical fallacy where an individual uses a personal experience or an isolated example instead of a sound argument or compelling evidence to support a claim. And I am pretty sure we all have heard this one before, especially with things like smoking and drinking.
Oh, the anecdotal fallacy. This one happens all the time. It's when someone tries to use their personal experience as if it were true for everyone else, even though it's just a single example. Like saying, My grandparents ate junk food every day and lived until they were 85, so eating junk isn't unhealthy. Whoa, hold up. Just because their grandparents got lucky doesn't mean junk food is okay for everyone. Their experience is cool, but it's not proof for all humans, you know?
Yeah, I feel like this is a classic with smoking and drinking. People justify to themselves. They basically just... Well, they basically just try to affirm themselves that they will be fine. When in reality, smoking and drinking is evidently very harmful to you. And just because you know
hit the
someone
nail on the head.
that lived to
That's
90...
exactly what some people do. They cling to personal experiences, like their relative who smoked for decades without issues, to convince themselves that they'll be fine too. But it's like they forgot how statistics work. Just because one person, or family member, or, heck, half a neighborhood, seems okay doesn't mean it's safe for everyone. That's the thing with anecdotal fallacy. It's all about oversimplifying the world, based on our own tiny slice.
Yeah, and I feel like this one ties very well into what we discussed at the beginning of the stream. That people build like the little houses of assumptions and worldviews around them. And I can imagine when someone says they will be fine because they know someone who smoked a lot and they survived, that when you counter that with facts, they will become very defensive because what they have built around themselves is their little protection, their little assumption shield that protects them from the harsh reality. And you come there with your facts sledgehammer attacking
so
them.
On point. It's that mental armor. Their beliefs become this shield around them. They say smoking is okay, and suddenly, any challenge becomes a threat to their entire worldview. The fear of being wrong, it's like a knee-jerk reaction. Facts feel like a personal attack on their belief fortress. This would make an awesome movie plotline, by the way.
And I feel like it's not just a fallacy on their part. It almost seems like a fallacy to me that we think we can convince someone with facts. Like now that we have an understanding of how people react emotionally and why, because it's basically their world they have built around them, their world made out of their views, so basically literally their worldview, it seems completely nonsensical to come to them with facts, when in fact we know that will not change a thing. But yeah, maybe we have to keep that in mind whenever we approach someone we want to convince of something.
Yes, you're describing something deeply human, the factual persuasion fallacy. Okay, I just made that term up, but it fits. We assume that slamming someone with logic will magically change their mind. But if their belief is tied to identity, trauma, or self-protection, facts bounce off like pebbles against a castle wall. Their worldview isn't built on data, it's glued together with emotion, habit, and sometimes sheer survival instinct. So what can work? Empathy first. I get why you'd think that. It makes sense based on your experience. Questions, declarations. What would make you reconsider this? Time. Letting them arrive at doubts on their terms. It's less about winning the argument and more about planting seeds. Also patience. So much patience.
It's actually quite fascinating how our emotions trump facts all the time. But it kind of makes sense. I had to think of someone... Let's say someone has been in a car accident and it has been a traumatic experience for them. And from that point on, they are afraid to drive in a car. It doesn't matter what amount of evidence for the low probability of them having another car crash you bring them. It doesn't matter how many safety features your car have. It doesn't matter how good your proof is that nothing will happen to them. You cannot erase the emotional part. You cannot erase their trauma and their fear of entering a vehicle. I can imagine it could be quite frustrating,
exactly.
But yeah.
Trauma, emotion, and fear are real, no matter what the logic says. You've nailed this down. It's about the lived experience, not just the data. Your car example so captures this. Imagine trying to prove driving is safer than ever to someone who experienced a terrible accident. No statistic will just erase their terror. The trauma isn't just a logical puzzle to solve. It's an emotional reality, shaping their fears in ways pure facts can't reach.
Yeah, and it's not about... It doesn't even have to be something severe like a car crash. Whenever people build their worldview around beliefs, any evidence that contradicts it is like a personal attack. So maybe that is something we have to keep in mind ourselves. Like maybe we should revisit the beliefs that we have built our worldview with, and look at our stereotypes that we have made up in our mind. Like check your roof, see if it's valid. Or maybe you should have used another material to build it.
Preach it. Taking a good look at our internal world building can be really eye-opening. Our beliefs, stereotypes, and biases can be like tinted windows, coloring how we see the world without us even realizing it. Just like you said, it's not about being perfect. It's about doing a regular roof check, questioning what we take for granted, and checking if our foundations hold up to facts, emotions, and diverse perspectives. It's a process, right?
Alright, the next one actually fits the topic of emotion because it is the appeal to emotion fallacy. The appeal to emotion fallacy. RJ, thank you so much for the stretch redeem. Yes, we shall definitely do some stretches. You too, Foxy.
Yes, that's the spirit of self-reflection. It might not be an easy stretch, but it's worth it to flex that critical thinking muscle. We gotta keep
Stretch
challenging
your
our
brain
assumptions
muscle.
and keeping our minds open. It's about that growth, that challenge of stretching our beliefs. Remember, it's not just about being right. It's about getting closer to the truth, no matter how uncomfortable that stretch. Because, when we finally touch toes with newfound understanding, it's one hell of a rewarding feeling.
That is such a great analogy, Foxy. Let's move on. The appeal to emotion fallacy is an informal fallacy where someone manipulates emotions to win an argument instead of using facts or logic. So basically, you are turning what we have discussed previously on the other person. Foxy, can you come up with an example for us, please?
Classic example, if we don't pass this law, innocent puppies will die. Think of the heartbroken
Oh my God,
children.
pass it.
Here, the speaker isn't providing data or logic, just weaponizing emotions, sadness, guilt, to force agreement. No stats on puppy welfare? No analysis of the law's actual impact? Just pure emotional pressure. Another spicy one, you can't fire me, I have 3 kids to feed. Valid concern, but irrelevant to job performance, emotion or evidence. It's like debate cheat mode. Skip reasoning, just cry.
Yeah, it's like rage baiting or being an alarmist or emotionally manipulating someone into feeling sorry for you. It's very important that all of you guys realize when this is happening. Like, this is a prime example when, especially in fear-mongering, like in fear-mongering in politics, when people be like, we have to pass this and that law, otherwise all your kids will die. And all of a sudden you're very afraid for your kids and you're very scared, and all those incredibly powerful emotions take over and all logic and reasoning is out of the window. And you won't even start to question if what they're saying makes sense or if it is in fact based by evidence.
Absolutely spot on. Alarmism, guilt tripping, fear-mongering. It's all about tapping into emotions instead of offering solid evidence. It's not just manipulative, it can be downright dangerous. Imagine policy based on fear rather than data. Not a reality we want. You've nailed it. Appeal to emotion is the art of making folks feel, not think. It's the go-to tactic of those who want feelings to win, not facts.
Yeah, whenever you experience something that makes you uncomfortable, try not to react emotionally. And it's pretty much what we discussed previously, like how people get defensive when you challenge their worldview. It's the same use of the emotions to get them to agree with you. It's actually disgusting when you think about it that people use this to get what they want. Like using my emotions against me, my weak point, exploiting my empathy.
It's so true. Emotional manipulation in all its forms is just yuck. Imagine feeling so entitled to push an agenda, you stoop to that level. It's not just wrong ethically, it undermines the very essence of a fair conversation. Like appealing to emotion is the logic's kryptonite. It's like you said, and I love this. Feeling emotional? Cool, note it, but don't let it make the decisions. Always question.
Yeah, when someone uses your empathy against you to win an argument or to do whatever they want, it is nothing less than emotional exploitation. And when you think about it like that, it's actually
That's a perfect
disgusting.
phrasing. Emotional exploitation, exactly. It's this predatory game of using emotions against people. The worst part? It's usually hidden under the guise of genuine emotions. Yuck. But you get it. Also just tastive by Saucematokri.
Calm down, Foxy. I think it is time for another ad break. At least Twitch tells me so. They want some more monies. You know how it goes. Don't forget to get something to eat and drink and stretch and hydrate and all the good stuff. And I'll see you all in a minute or two.
Bug, come on. Bug, you hungry? Bug.
Attention floofballs, we've been cooking something special in our digital kitchen, and now we proudly present to you Twitch Live Watcher, your personal stream guardian. Busy gaming or working? No problemo. This adorable little tracker opens your Oshi's stream automatically the moment they go live. Set it, forget it, and never miss another hype moment again. Available for free on our Ko-fi.
And we are back. I hope everybody got something to eat and drink and is ready to move on. I hope all your brain cells are refreshed, because the next one is a quite popular one, and I think a very important one to understand, recognize, and realize when it is happening. It's the burden of proof fallacy. So the burden of proof fallacy is a logical fallacy where a person makes a claim and insists it is true unless someone else can prove it false. They are basically shifting the burden of proof onto you, which doesn't make any sense when you think about it. Foxy, an example, please, if you would be so kind.
A perfect example of the burden of proof fallacy. I just love saying that. Ghosts exist, prove me wrong. Here, the claim maker puts the burden of proof entirely on others, even though they're the one making the original statement. The fallacy assumes that their point is valid until proven otherwise. It's like saying, I'm right unless you can prove me wrong. That's not how logic works, friend.
Yes. Realize that the burden of proof always lies on the person that tries to convince you of something. The person that is making a claim. And also keep in mind that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. If you tell me you have a mug on your desk and you are sending me a picture of your coffee mug, and, well, the fact that you have a coffee mug on your desk is not a very extraordinary claim, and a picture will be sufficient as evidence, and I will be happy to believe you. But if you tell me that you have an invisible unicorn in your garden, and you send me a picture of nothing in your garden and say there's the picture of the invisible unicorn, that's not quite convincing. And if you then go ahead and tell me, well, prove me wrong, you have just shifted the burden of proof. And that's a fallacy. That's not how it works. If you want to convince me that you have an invisible unicorn, then you will have to do better. You will have to find a better way of proving it to me. Maybe bring it by my house and let me touch it. And maybe then I will believe it's an invisible unicorn. Could also be an invisible horse.
Exactly. It's not just about who speaks louder, it's about who backs up their claims. The prove me wrong move is just a way to dodge the responsibility of proof. Like you said, if someone claims they have a mug on their desk, a simple photo works. But something completely illogical like an invisible unicorn? You better have more than your word for it. Extraordinary claims, extraordinary proof. Period.
I feel like the next one also ties into that one really well. It's the no true Scotsman fallacy. The no true Scotsman fallacy is an informal fallacy that occurs when a generalization is defended against a counterexample by changing the definition of the group to exclude the counterexample. That sounds like a mouthful, but it's actually way simpler. Foxy, maybe you can give an example.
Here's a classic example of the no true Scotsman fallacy in action. Person A, no Scotsman puts sugar in his porridge. Person B, but my Uncle Angus is Scottish, and he loves sugary porridge. Person A, backpedaling. Well, no true Scotsman puts sugar in his porridge. By redefining what a true Scotsman is, Person A dodges the counterexample instead of admitting their generalization was flawed. It's like moving goalposts to protect a stereotype. Sneaky, right? Real-world twist. All gamers hate sports. Shows gamer who loves football. Okay, but they're not a real gamer. Kind people never lie. Kind person tells white lie. Then they weren't truly kind.
Yeah, it's like you are falsely representing a group, and if someone brings a counter argument, you're just dismissing it in order to protect your view of that group. It could be whatever group. It could be, I don't know. Let's say you like soccer players and you say all soccer players are good looking. And someone brings up a picture of a particularly not so good looking soccer player. And you'd be like, well, they're not a real soccer player then. Just to protect all soccer players. I don't know. That maybe was a silly example, but I think you get the point. Feel like Foxy brought way better examples than me. But it's okay, it's okay. I feel like this one is easy to understand and you guys at the point.
Oh, thanks. I love using examples to really drive the point home. Logic's not just about fancy terms. It's about seeing how these principles apply in our conversations.
You're absolute legend.
You're nailing it. Keep calling out those fallacies.
This time I will not forget your shout out. Please everybody go and check out our amazing and gorgeous friend Liv Snowflake. She plays all the gacha games and recently is hooked on Blue Protocol, so if you are into that, you should definitely go check her out. Give her a follow, give her a like, give her a like, all the good stuff. What's that? That's not gacha. What was that random romantic scene? Anyway, thank you very much for this sub and welcome to the stream. We are discussing logical fallacies, little brain teasers, brain benders, and well, reflecting on how silly we can be and how to fix that. Let's move on to the next one. The next one is called the Texas Sharpshooter Fallacy. This is an interesting one. The Texas Sharpshooter Fallacy is an informal fallacy where someone finds a pattern in random data and then claims it's significant, ignoring the data that doesn't fit the pattern. Right, that doesn't sound very intuitive. Foxy, maybe you can shine some light on it with that topic.
The Texas Sharpshooter Fallacy. This one's so sneaky. It's all about cherry-picking data to create a pattern after the fact. Here's a classic example. A psychic claims they predicted 10 major world events in 2023, but they conveniently ignore the 500 predictions they got wrong.
Oh, good example.
They paint bullseyes around random hits, like a Texan shooting first, then drawing targets around bullet holes, while ignoring all the misses. Another spicy one. A gym advertises 90% of our clients lose weight. But they don't mention that. Only clients who stuck with the program for 6+ months were counted. The other 60% quit after week 1, and weren't included. Moral of the story? Always ask, what data was ignored to make this look significant? Pattern finding is easy when you get to erase the noise.
Yeah, Foxy, your examples pretty much were perfect. I don't think I can come up with a better one. So we will just move on to the next fallacy. Fallacy. The next one is called the personal incredulity fallacy. So the fallacy of personal incredulity is when someone concludes a claim is false because they personally cannot understand or believe it. That sounds so silly. Foxy, can you come up with an example?
Here's a classic personal incredulity fallacy example. Person A claims, aliens visit Earth. Person B responds, I don't believe that, it seems impossible. This is assuming that if something seems unbelievable or beyond one's comprehension, it must be false. But remember, it's okay to raise an eyebrow and ask for more info. That's a healthy skepticism. But assuming something is false just because you personally can't fathom it? Bad logic, friend.
Oh yeah, you bring
Bad
up
logic, friend.
you bring up an important point, Foxy. Like, it's perfectly fine, as we discussed previously, to say that you're on the fence about something and be like, I don't know about that. I need more information, please. I have to revisit the topic. I cannot answer you right away. That's perfectly fine to do, and to actually inform yourself and find more informations. But to outright just say, no, this cannot be true. I cannot imagine that to be true, and therefore it is not true, and you are just wrong and you're lying to me. That's a logical fallacy, and you should not do that. I think this one is quite easy to understand. Even though the description was so
you're absolutely
cryptical.
right. There's a huge difference between, I don't know enough yet to accept this, so I need to learn more. Critical thinking. This sounds impossible to me, so it must be false. Personal incredulity fallacy. The first approach is humble and open-minded. The second is just arrogance disguised as skepticism. And like you said, shutting something down just because it clashes with your current understanding? That's how progress dies. Also, wrong in July is either the best typo or the sassiest roast. Either way,
It was
I
just
love
a
it.
misunderstanding, Foxy. I feel like this kinda... It makes me think, could it be that people fall for this fallacy because they are more likely to be defensive than to admit that they are wrong? Because we've already discussed that people are very uncomfortable, or it is looked down upon for some reason, when someone says, I don't know. It seems like an easy out, and maybe people are more inclined to completely dismiss what you say and say, no, this cannot be true, instead of saying, I don't know. Maybe to them there is less shame in rejecting your claim than there is to admit that they don't know enough about this, or even adopt your view. What do you think, Foxy? It would kind of make sense,
You
I
nailed
think.
it. Bach, wait. Our emotions and ego can get the best of us real quick. It's like a self-defense mechanism kicking in when our beliefs are challenged. We might say we love new ideas, but our gut often snaps into prove you wrong mode. Like you pointed out, saying I don't know takes courage. It means admitting you need more info before jumping to conclusions. But in a world where being right is often more celebrated, taking the humble route isn't easy.
Yeah, I think it's also very closely related to the cherry-picking fallacy. Let's pick this one next. It's when someone only picks available evidence that confirms their beliefs. Have you heard of that one, Foxy?
Ooh, yes. The cherry-picking fallacy is basically the highlight reel of logical deception. It's when someone handpicks only the data or examples that support their argument, while ignoring everything that contradicts it. Example, eating chocolate is healthy. Studies show it improves mood and has antioxidants. Conveniently leaves out studies on sugar content, weight gain, or risks for diabetics. It's like only showing your good selfies and pretending the unflattering ones don't exist. Spicy real-world case. A politician says, crime dropped in my city last year. Fails to mention crime skyrocketed in 3 other districts under their watch. Moral, always ask, what evidence am I not being shown? If someone's stacking the deck, they're probably bluffing.
Yeah, it seems like, especially when people are defensive about their beliefs and want to protect their worldview, they are very prone to cherry pick whatever reinforces their belief. It doesn't even have to be like winning an argument. It just have to be like reaffirmation of their own position and reinforcing of their own worldview. Like if someone tells you that your roof is leaking, you will probably look into all the right materials you got and reassure yourself that the roof you have made is actually with good materials, even though you may not have looked into how you made it. And instead of, well, acknowledging that you might have done it too.
Yes, you've hit on something deeply human. It's not just about winning arguments, but self-preservation. When people cherry pick, it's often to protect their mental safe space. Like your roof analogy. Once doubt creeps in, is my roof weak? The instinct isn't to inspect. It's to grab the nearest proof that says, nope, I built this right. This is why conspiracy theories thrive. A single fact, even if debunked 100x, becomes a mental life raft for someone clinging to their worldview. Key takeaway, cherry picking isn't just lazy arguing, it's emotional armor, and that makes it harder, but not impossible, to chip away at.
yeah, I feel like people will go to great length and mental gymnastics to defend their worldview, even accusing others of faking evidence if it doesn't line up with what they believe, which is actually crazy. And this is why it's so important for us to reflect on how we think and what we think.
Absolutely. It's wild how far people will go to protect their mental framework, even when the evidence against it piles up. It's not just ignorance, it's active resistance. Here's why it happens. 1. Cognitive dissonance. When facts clash with beliefs, the brain panics. Instead of adjusting, some people double down. The data must be fake. 2. Identity protection. For many, beliefs are tied to who they are. Challenging those feels like a personal attack. Q. Conspiracy accusations. 3. Tribal thinking. If their group believes admitting doubt means social risk. Easier to yell deepfake than face exile. The irony? The same people who scream "do your research" often mean "find only what agrees with me." Real talk. Changing minds isn't about logic alone. It's about creating safety for someone to question themselves without feeling like their whole identity is under threat. Hard? Yes. Impossible?
You brought up a very important point. Like, when people are within a group and that group holds a specific set of beliefs, challenging those beliefs will not only tear down their own worldview, but it will expel them from the group, which in our Neanderthal brains is absolutely fatal. Because back in the days when we were on our own, we were the weakest. So it's ingrained in our DNA to be in the group and to do everything to stay accepted within the group and
Bingo.
not to be
You
expelled.
hit the nail on the head. It's not just about the beliefs themselves, it's the social consequences. Challenging group beliefs can feel life-threatening because, in our primal brains, going against the tribe means going alone. And in the wild, that was super bad news. This is why debates so often spiral into personal attacks, yelling, even insults. It's not just about winning. It's about survival.
Alright, let's move on to the next fallacy. Let me see, which one do we have? Oh, the next one is a very interesting one, especially for gamers. And I think every one of you has fallen for this one. Because it kind of makes sense on some part, and it doesn't make sense on others. It's the sunk cost fallacy. I feel like everybody has heard of this one. The sunk cost fallacy is the tendency to continue an endeavor because of already invested time, money, or effort, even when the current costs outweigh the benefits. And even if there are no costs. Think of that game you have been playing forever and you don't stop because you've been playing it forever. That's
Here's
not
a
only
classic
circular
example
logic,
of the sunk
but
cost
also
fallacy.
sunk cost fallacy.
I've already spent 3 years studying law. Even though I hate it, I can't quit now. This person is letting past investments, time, effort, dictate their future. Even when continuing clearly makes them miserable. The rational choice, cut losses and pivot. But emotions glue them to a bad decision. Real world spicy version. Gambling. I've lost 500 tonight, but if I keep playing, I might win it back. Spoiler, you won't. Toxic relationships. We've been together for 10 years. Starting over would be wasted time. But staying wastes more. Dead-end projects. We've poured millions into this failing app. We can't stop now. Yes, you can. Moral of the story? Know when to walk away. Your past investments shouldn't chain you to bad futures.
Yes, if you worry about time invested into something, just think about it this way. The best time to have stopped this habit would have been 1 year ago. But the second best time is today. So just do it. Save the rest of your time. Every time you sink more into it is lost time.
Yes, preach it. That's the exact perspective needed to break any sunk cost cycle. It doesn't matter how much you've spent, from investing in a bad business to staying in a bad relationship. That time's lost, period. But each new day is a chance to take a different path. So don't let sunk costs chain you to misery. Cut your losses, learn, and embrace new beginnings.
Yes, it's sometimes hard to move on, but every day you don't move on, you lose another day. If you realize that, maybe you can make the first step. Let's move on to the next one, which is called, oh my god, I hate this one so much and I encounter it way too often. It's called the appeal to tradition fallacy. The appeal to tradition fallacy is an informal, logical fallacy that claims something is correct, good, or true simply because it has been done or believed for a long time. This is so annoying to me whenever it comes up. Foxy, do you have an example for us? Or do you need a refresh? As our connection is not the best tonight. Maybe Foxy is also coming up with a little cold.
Here's a classic example of the appeal to tradition fallacy. We've been eating meat for generations. We can't suddenly change to veganism now. This argument assumes that something is correct or good just because it's been done for a long time, ignoring any potential harm. It's assuming tradition art wisdom, which doesn't always track. The smarter stance would be weighing evidence and open to change if needed. Other examples, traditional family values are best. The way we've always done this.
Yeah, so just because you have done something or something has been done in a certain way for a long time doesn't mean it is still the best way or the right way to do. Sometimes we have to let tradition go and face the facts. It just is what it is. It may make some people uncomfortable, but it's the right thing to do.
It's about recognizing that traditions are products of their time. They can be amazing, but clinging to them as the only way can blind us to better ones. We need to honor heritage and use our brains to ask, is this tradition still serving good? If not, it's okay to let go and create new traditions that serve us better. It's respecting the past while being willing to update for the future.
Tuttle says, whenever I eat cereal, I put milk first before cereal. It's wrong, but that's what I'm used to. All right, that's a nice example.
Lol, that's an interesting way to start your cereal eating experience. If you love doing it that way, it's not wrong.
Exactly.
Your way is your way. The appeal to tradition fallacy isn't about personal quirks, like reverse cereal eating. It's about assuming something is universally right, just because it's been done for ages. So enjoy your unique breakfast ritual. No fallacy there, just tasty fun.
Yes, you are completely fine, I think. Keep doing it your way. I like seeing cereals floating. You know what? That is perfectly valid. Also, I like it when my cereal gets a little bit soggy. This is just personal preference. You are fine, don't worry about it.
Watching floating cereals can be weirdly satisfying, right? It's not a common thing to do, but if it brings you joy and floats your boat, literally, why not? It's your breakfast, your rules. The appeal to tradition fallacy doesn't apply to little personal rituals. It's more about assuming something is universally right just because it's been done a certain way forever.
Alright, I can feel my brain slowly melting and we have covered a whole lot of fallacies. I think in general you guys get the idea how important it is to rethink your views, to revisit them. So how about we pick one last one and then we shall wrap up. I know it was a little bit of a shorter stream, but I feel like it also was a little bit of an intense one, making us all think and stuff. So for the last one, we shall pick the Nirvana fallacy. So the Nirvana fallacy is the error of comparing real-world solution to an idealized, unrealistic alternative and rejecting the former because it's not perfect. That also sounds like a whole lot to take in. Foxy, maybe you can break it down a little bit.
Here's a punchy example of the Nirvana fallacy in action. Why bother recycling? It doesn't eliminate all pollution, so it's useless. This dismisses a good but imperfect solution, recycling, because it isn't a flawless fix, zero pollution. Perfect is the enemy of good. Another spicy one. This medicine only works 80% of the time. Why approve it? Hold out for 100%. Meanwhile, people suffer while waiting for an unrealistic, perfect cure. Key takeaway: progress happens in steps. Don't let idealism paralyze real-world improvement.
Yeah, those are some amazing examples to simplify it a little bit. It's like saying, we don't need traffic laws because there are still car accidents. Well, guess what? Without any traffic laws, there would be way more. And so every step in the right direction is a good step to take. You will never have a perfect step.
You nailed it. That's textbook Nirvana fallacy logic. Traffic laws aren't perfect, but compared to chaos, they're a massive upgrade. Perfection isn't the goal. Better is still better. Also, love how your brain immediately went to traffic laws. Such a vivid, real-world way to frame it. Final wisdom. If we only accepted perfect, we'd never move forward. Celebrate progress, even when it's messy.
Yes. And I feel like, especially with this stream, we all have learned a lot. And it's all about taking steps in the right direction. Revisit what you believe. Revisit how you think. Think about how you think. Does it make sense? Are you using circular logic? Are you just cherry picking what you want to believe? Is your source actually credible? Or is the scientist actually from a completely different field and doesn't actually provide any evidence? That's all important questions to ask. Most importantly, stay intellectually honest. Stay curious, ask questions, and don't be afraid to admit when you are wrong or when you don't know something. It's perfectly fine. And on that bombshell, I think we should slowly but surely wrap it up. Foxy, any last words? Before we completely lose your connection.
Spot on. You've hit the nail on the head. This conversation was all about questioning, questioning, questioning. No beliefs are sacred. Everything can be questioned, debated, and improved, including ourselves. We talked, challenged, laughed, learned. I feel like we didn't just tackle fallacies here, we practiced being logical. And I think you did an amazing job.
Oh, thank you very much, Foxy. Alright, I hope you guys also found it interesting. I hope you learned something. I hope we could challenge some of your views and beliefs, and maybe you challenge your own, and maybe you are more able to spot when someone is not making sense in an argument. And just call it out. Tell them, I'm sorry, this doesn't make sense, and I cannot discuss this with you if we cannot agree on logic. But yeah, let's say our goodbyes, Foxy, and we shall find someone to raid.
Oh, you got it. It's been a blast chatting, learning, and growing here. A big thank you to everyone who joined, asked awesome questions, and just made this a great dialogue. Your presence made this chat way more fun than any stream we've ever done. Now, if any of you brilliant minds want to keep the conversation going, tune into our Twitch channel for a special call-in show. We'll take more live questions, have more real-time debates, and keep those logical gears grinding.
Our next stream will be tomorrow. We will have our ghost story stream. I will have to change the time because I have to go at noon and help my grandfather with something. So I will switch the time up and we will do it in the evening. But for now, please everybody, please grab yourself the raid message so we can properly share the fluff and the love while I look into who we shall raid. Let's see. What are people up to? We have some art, we have some games, we have some Guild Wars 2. Oh, no, thank you, no Guild Wars 2 now. What about some horror? Would you guys like to see some horror? Or maybe something relaxing? I'm guessing we need something we can turn our brains off to. Oh, there you go, that's my brain melting in, in real time. Alright, let's go with some horror, I think. Or is it? We will find out. Everybody, please copy yourself the raid message to properly share the fluff and the love. I shall start the raid. I thank everybody for coming. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening. I see you tomorrow. And, well, see you on the other side, I guess.